What is the difference between a social worker, a therapist? Why do you have both titles? And what is a social worker? Like, we hear these terms all the time. I don't think I know what it means.
Okay. All right. So, strictly, a social worker is an advocate for a marginalized population or a population of people that are at risk. So, a social worker is somebody who is trained to be able to identify some of the unique needs of a demographic and to provide services or act as a liaison. So someone comes into a social worker's office and is like, I need help getting bus passes, or I don't know, rent vouchers or things like that. Generally, it can be kind of charitable. Or in the hospital setting, generally it can be for people who are unable to speak for themselves or advocate for their own interests.
So it's an advocate.
100%.
Interesting. So social worker is a blanket term for people who advocate for different groups of people.
No, a social worker is a protected title. Which means that you have to be licensed to be called a social worker. So you need a master's in social work and you need to go through the licensing process. So in Washington, for me, that's 3 years of work experience under a supervisor in order to become fully licensed. Yeah.
Wow. So to advocate for people, you have to have all that education.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
There's a lot of responsibility. You are at times working with people who are severely disabled, and you're making or helping people make pretty important decisions about what happens with these people. When it comes to inpatient psychiatry, you have people who have honestly had their rights kind of revoked for the time being when they're being admitted into hospital, and someone needs to be able to advocate for their interests and make sure that they're not being forgotten about or medicated inappropriately, or that their family knows where they are. And
Whoa.
so social workers should be very well vetted. Their interests, their personal interests, their ethics, everything about them needs to be monitored.